In every community, a backdrop of organized crime unveils a history that includes notorious figures. The black community, too, has its share of formidable characters, often referred to as the lions of the underworld. These individuals, fueled by a deep-seated resentment towards poverty and the racial injustices of their era, defied the odds to emerge as mob bosses in their own right, establishing criminal organizations that amassed significant wealth. Their stories are not just about financial success, but also about earning respect in the process. Join us in these videos as we delve into the narratives of the 10 most infamous black mob bosses. Welcome again, my dear viewers. Number 10, Jeff Fort, a man known for his iron grip, hailed from Chicago's South Side. He commanded respect and fear not only from the black community but from anyone in that district. Born into poverty, Fort found solace and strength within the close-knit streets of Bronzeville, where survival often required navigating a web of crime. Fort's rise to power commenced when he established the Black P. Stone Gang in the late 1950s, driven by a desire to protect the community against systemic oppression. As the 60s unfolded, so did Fort's ambitions. The gang transformed into a formidable criminal organization, with Fort at its helm. His strategic acumen and magnetic leadership style enabled him to unite rival factions under the Black P. Stone banner. As the gang gained notoriety, so did Fort's influence. He skillfully played the game, forming alliances and outsmarting law enforcement. Fort's charisma, combined with a keen business sense, allowed him to control vast swaths of the city's drug trade. His empire extended beyond crime, with Fort proclaiming himself a community leader, merging his criminal enterprise with social activism. Number 9, Thomas Fischer, a notorious figure in the criminal underworld, gained infamy as a Harlem drug lord during the tumultuous era of the 1980s. Born on September 5, 1947, Fischer's early life was characterized by the challenges of growing up in the tough streets of Harlem. His entry into the criminal world was influenced by the socio-economic conditions and systemic issues that plagued the African-American community during that period. In the midst of the crack epidemic, Fischer skillfully navigated the gritty and dangerous landscape of New York City, using his street smarts to establish himself as a formidable mobster in the narcotics trade. His criminal empire became a symbol of audacity and ruthlessness, with Fischer fearlessly taking on even the notorious Italian Mafia, a feat that few dared to attempt. Number 8, Casper Holstein, a mysterious figure in the history of organized crime, carved his name into the annals as a pioneering Harlem mobster during the Prohibition era. Hailing from the Virgin Islands, Holstein, an Afro-Caribbean man, emerged as a key player in the illicit liquor trade, navigating the tumultuous landscape of 1920s New York. In stark contrast to the violence associated with many mobsters, Holstein gained notoriety through his shrewd business acumen. Dubbed the Bolito King, he operated covert lotteries, offering a glimmer of hope and financial relief to Harlem's impoverished residents. Holstein astutely exploited loopholes in the legal system, assuaging the violent tendencies of other mobsters while amassing wealth and influence. Holstein's criminal empire stood out for its sophistication and commitment to the community. He invested in education and social programs, aspiring to uplift Harlem during a period marked by racial strife and economic hardship. Despite his illicit activities, he earned respect for his philanthropic endeavors and cultural contributions. He was the godfather of Harlem, and at that time, everyone was looking for help from Holstein. Number 7, Larry Hoover, a heavyweight in organized crime, carved out a notorious reputation as the top dog of the Gangster disciples, a formidable gang hailing from the gritty streets of Chicago. Hoover, an African-American, found himself deeply entangled in the harsh challenges faced by inner-city communities in the late 1960s. Hoover transformed the Gangster disciples into a powerful force involved in a spectrum of criminal activities, including drug trafficking, racketeering, and violence. His leadership style blended charm with an aura of intimidation, solidifying his reputation on the gritty streets of Chicago. The story takes a twist in 1973 when Hoover is arrested, but that didn't put an end to his influence. From behind bars, he continued to pull strings, solidifying his status as a legendary figure in the underworld. Some supporters argue that, paradoxically, Hoover aimed to address the problems in his community, even pushing for change from the confines of prison. His ability to adapt to the changing dynamics of the criminal underworld and exploit emerging markets contributed to the expansion of his criminal enterprise. Number 6. Bumpy Johnson. In the gritty streets of Harlem, a legendary figure emerged from the shadows. A man known as Bumpy Johnson, born Ellsworth Raymond Johnson in 1905, was a sharp-dressed, street-savvy character who became a prominent figure in the criminal underworld during the early to mid-20th century. What set Bumpy apart was not just his cunning wit, but also the fact that he was a black man navigating a predominantly white mobster world. Bumpy was no small-time player. He rose to prominence during the Prohibition era, making a name for himself in illegal activities like gambling, racketeering, and numbers games. His suave demeanor and strategic mind made him a force to be reckoned with. Bumpy's criminal empire reached its peak during the Harlem Renaissance, where he ran the numbers game, a form of illegal lottery, with an iron fist. Despite his criminal activities, Bumpy was a complex character who was both feared and respected. He was known for his generosity within the community, earning him a Robin Hood-like reputation. While some saw him as a criminal mastermind, others saw him as a community leader, providing for those who needed help. Number 5, Jica Thompson. In the gritty world of organized crime, where men often dominate the scene, one woman managed to carve her own path to notoriety. Jica Queenie Thompson, a name that sends shivers down the spines of those who know her story, stands as the only woman on the list of infamous black mobsters. Her journey from the mean streets to the pinnacle of criminality is a tale that resonates with audacity and cunning. Known for her sharp mind and street savvy, Thompson orchestrated an empire that reached its zenith in the 80s and 90s. Her illicit operations spanned drug trafficking and money laundering, earning her the title of the Queen-Pin. Thompson's cunning maneuvers allowed her to accumulate substantial profits, reaching staggering figures that solidified her status as a true heavyweight in the criminal underworld. Her ability to adapt to the changing dynamics of the drug trade and exploit emerging markets contributed to the expansion of her criminal enterprise. Number 4, Felix Mitchell, a notorious figure in the streets of Oakland during the 80s, was a legendary drug kingpin whose influence stretched far beyond the block. Born in 1954, Mitchell quickly rose to prominence as the leader of the notorious 69 mob, a gang deeply entrenched in the drug trade. Mitchell's empire dominated the crack cocaine epidemic, earning him both infamy and respect in the underworld. With a sharp business mind, he orchestrated a network of dealers, earning the nickname Felix the Cat for his elusive nature. The streets buzzed with talk of his charisma and cunning as he navigated the dangerous waters of Oakland's criminal landscape. However, Mitchell's reign came to a tragic end in 1986 when he was gunned down in a federal halfway house. Despite his criminal legacy, his impact on street culture endures, immortalized in hip-hop lyrics. Number 3, Frank Matthews, aka the Black Caesar, rose from the gritty streets of Durham, North Carolina, to become one of the most elusive and mysterious drug kingpins in American history. In the late 1960s and early 1970s, Matthews built a narcotics empire that stretched from the East Coast to the Midwest, making him the original ghost in the game. Known for his sharp wit and street smarts, Matthews navigated the drug trade with courage, eluding law enforcement at every turn. He was a mastermind, blending into the urban landscape like a chameleon, earning the respect of both allies and adversaries. In 1973, facing mounting legal troubles, Matthews vanished without a trace, leaving behind a legacy shrouded in mystery. To this day, the whereabouts of the Black Caesar remain unknown, cementing his status as a legend of the streets and a symbol of urban resilience. Number 2, Nicky Barnes, Harlem's infamous Mr. Untouchable, emerged as a legendary figure in the 70s drug scene. Born in 1933, Barnes orchestrated one of the most lucrative heroin operations, cementing his status as a formidable player in the underworld. A mastermind with a street-savvy swagger, Barnes navigated the drug trade's complexities, earning him notoriety and a lifestyle dripping in luxury. His empire, known as the Council, controlled significant portions of the heroin market. Despite his flamboyant lifestyle, Barnes faced the heat in 1978 when the law caught up with him. His flashy persona crumbled, leading to his cooperation with the authorities, dismantling his own empire to secure a reduced sentence. And finally, number 1, Frank Lucas, the Harlem drug kingpin, was like the ultimate boss in the black community's shady history. Back in the 70s, he ran the show, pushing the purest blue magic on the streets. This advertising name is the purest heroin, imported directly from Vietnam. Lucas was smooth and tricky, sneaking heroin in coffins of dead soldiers during the Vietnam War. People called him Superfly Snooker, dressed to the nines and sharp as a tack. Lucas hung out with the big shots while secretly ruling the drug game. He once bragged, "I own the cops, they work for me." And there you have it, folks, the top 10 most infamous black mob bosses in American history. From Jeff Fort to Frank Lucas, each of these individuals left an indelible mark on the world of organized crime. Their stories are a testament to the power of ambition, cunning, and determination. But as we reflect on their lives and legacies, let us not forget the devastating impact that their actions had on communities and families across the country. The drug trade, violence, and corruption that they perpetuated have left scars that still linger today. Here we've reached the end of our story. I hope you enjoyed it. If you liked the video, don't forget to subscribe to the channel, hit the like button, and also click the bell icon to stay updated. So help me reach this episode to 1 million views. Thank you, and I'll see you in the next one.